All right, welcome back. This is part two of 35 funny moments from Digimon Tamers. Picking up where I left off, episode 37. So, Susie's scanner alerts her that Lotmon is in trouble. I don't know why I wrote scanner, it's her Digivice. Uh, and through the power of, this is me guessing, through the power of will and connection she has with her Digimon partner, Susie's Digivice helps her fly away to aid Lotmon, who is with the rest of the kids and the Digimon Sovereign. Before she took off, Garjamon noticed Susie climbing to the top of a tower and asked her, "Are you sure that's safe?" And Susie just responded, "No." And Garjamon just shrugged his shoulders and said, "Okay." And then not long after that, Kazu rushed over and he asks, "Hey, what's all the jabbering about over here?" And then he looks back and forth and he's like, where did Susie go?" And then Garjamon says, "She flew away." Kazu yells, "She flew away? Are you kidding me? How? You were supposed to be watching her." And then Garjamon just says, I watched the whole thing." And Kazu shakes his head and he says, "That's not what I meant, you big doofus." So it's like the one time in the series Kazu gets to call someone else a doofus. It's his own Digimon. And Garjamon wasn't wrong. He literally watched her fly away, but, Kazu meant for Garjamon to look after her, not just watch her do whatever she wants. Next funny moment is from episode 38. So, the kids are learning very in depth about the creation of the digital world from the lightning sovereign Azulamon. And he starts telling this story about the structure of the digital world. In a serious voice, Azulamon says, "In the beginning, this is all there was to the digital world. It was empty, stark, and inhospitable." And Kazu just interrupts the story and he proclaims, "Just like a party at Kenta's house." And then Henry nervously says, "Hey guys, let's not make the ultra powerful Digimon angry by interrupting him, okay?" So it's funny, he's telling this serious story, saying the digital world's empty, stark, and inhospitable, and Kazu just says, "It's like a party at Kenta's house." Next funny moment is from episode 39. Azulamon talks about the D-Reaper. He says in a various tone, "It doesn't eat, sleep, or feel pain. It exists only to destroy." And then Henry says, "How can we defeat this chaos?" And Terriermon just goes, "Yeah, I mean, how are we supposed to kick its butt if it doesn't even have one?" Because it's like the D-Reaper's like this big blob of pink goo, and so it doesn't have a butt. So Terriermon says, "How are we supposed to kick its butt if it doesn't even have one?" Okay, next funny moment. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Episode 39, again for the next funny moment. So as the group continues to search for Calamon, Kazu says, "Hopefully the chaos hasn't had him for lunch." Takato argues back, "Don't say that." Kazu says, "Hey, I'm just telling it like it is. Think about it. Calamon's about as tough as butterscotch pudding." And the camera cuts to another part of the digital world where Calamon is seen crawling through a cave. And he says out loud, "Okay, it's not like I'm butterscotch pudding or something. I'm brave and stupendous. I'm not a scaredy cat." Like he's trying to psych himself up. But it's just funny that Kazu says he's like butterscotch pudding. Then it cuts to another part of the digital world where Calamon's at. And he's like, "I am not like butterscotch pudding." Okay, next funny moment is episode 40. So Jerry is in the digital world and she's kind of wandering off by herself. Takato and Kazu try to find her. And they see her off in the distance, so they rush towards her. And Kazu says, she sure picked a weird time to play hide and seek. And as they get closer to her, Takato says, "Jerry, what were you doing over here?" And then they notice that her eyes are all crazy, and she responds by pulling out her dog puppet. And the reason for her eyes looking that way is because she's starting to become possessed by the D-Reaper who's feeding off of Jerry's depression. So Kazu just whispers in Takato's ear, Bathroom, I'll bet. And the two of them nervously chuckle, like they think she's going to the bathroom, and that's why she had to go off in the distance, when really it's for a kind of a dark reason. Um, but that was kind of unexpectedly funny. The next funny moment is episode 40. So the group is getting ready to leave the digital world and head back home. The phoenix looking sovereign, who the kids fought a few episodes ago, reluctantly has a change of heart and says to the Digimon, or he says to the Digimon of the Tamers, I will try to respect your decision. You can go with your human being partners. And then Lotmon, who used to serve that sovereign, she bows down to him and says, my sovereign, your generosity and wisdom are without bounds. Thank you. And then Terriermon jumps in front of Lotmon, and he just kind of holds up his hand and goes, thanks, Juicer, it's been real. Which is it's just funny because he's like this sovereign, so people are supposed to really respect him, and Terriermon is just like, thanks, Juicer, it's been real. Next funny moment is in episode 42. So by this point, the kids are back in the real world. They left the digital world via the Ark. So here's a funny moment from episode 42. Jerry's little brother is playing a game of tag with Calamon, even though Calamon doesn't really understand how the game works. Jerry's brother falls over while they're playing, and Jerry, who continues to be possessed by the evil D-Reaper, pins her brother to the ground and in a creepy voice says, all better now, all better now, all better now. And then, obviously Jerry's little brother's like mortified and starts crying. And it's like a really dark moment. And then a frightened Calamon watches off from the distance and he goes, if that's what being it is, I don't want to be it ever again. Which is funny, Calamon with another funny quote. The next funny moment also from episode 42. So with the D-Reaper beginning to take over the city, the military closes off certain areas to maintain control of the situation. Takato and Guilmon have to get into one of the areas. Surrounded by military guards, Guilmon asks, how are we going to get past those guys? And Takato just says, I'm not sure. We got to come up with a plan. And then Guilmon, in a very excited voice, says, ooh. And Takato says, what, do you have an idea? And Guilmon says, no, I just like when we come up with plans. And chuckles. But then Takato just, he's not in the mood for it. He sighs and in a disappointed voice is just like, Guilmon. And shakes his head like, come on, Guilmon, you really got to say that right now? But it's just funny and realistic that Guilmon would respond that way because he's, again, not the sharpest tool in the shed. The next funny moment is episode 43. It was at the very beginning of episode 43. One of the D-Reaper's agents is a large group of flying creatures. Each of these creatures has multiple eyes. And when they land in front of the group at the beginning of this episode, they just stand and stare at them. And as more creatures appear, most of the group comes to the conclusion that they better run away. So they take off, but Guilmon stays and continues staring at them. And Takato yells back, Guilmon, what are you doing? And this like mesmerized version of Guilmon just goes, staring contest. And then before Takato rushes back, to pull Guilmon away, Guilmon is like reluctant. He's like, but I was winning. It's like, come on, Guilmon, now you got to be doing this. But, that was a funny moment. Another funny moment in episode 43. So, there's two young children named Ai and Mako who are Impmon's new partners. Actually, they're not really new partners. They used to be his partner, but they've been away from Impmon for so long, so they're like reuniting right now, or trying to. So Ai and Mako leave Impmon a note, but he can't really read it for himself. I guess Impmon just can't read English, or it might have been in Japanese or something, or who knows what language it was, but bottom line, Impmon can't read it. So he goes across the city asking random humans to help him read it, but they're all just terrified by Impmon and run away. Henry's sensei, who's like this wise older man who kind of mentors Henry, appears and offers to read it for Impmon. Afterwards, an excited Impmon thanks Henry's sensei and begins to run off. A moment later, he turns back and says to Henry Sensei, "How come you didn't run away screaming like all the others?" And Henry Sensei responds with, "The answer is simple. Your outer form is unimportant. It's your inner life that defines your true nature, not a misrepresentation of malice." Which is very profound. And then a puzzled Impmon just goes, "I have no idea what you just said." And he kind of gives this little smile and goes, "But it sure sounded good," and then just runs off to go find IE and Mako. So that's definitely a funny moment from Impmon. Next funny moment also from episode 43. So this is like the third funny moment from the episode. So there's this family reunion scene where Takado, Henry, and Rika are having dinner with their parents. So the kids and then all their parents are around a dinner table eating, and also Guilmon, Terriermon, and Renamon are there. So after they finish their meal, a very full Guilmon collapses to the ground, and he turns to Takado and says, "I need a bigger tummy, Takado. Can you draw me one?" Which is a callback to the first episode when Takado drew Guilmon to bring him to life. And, Renamon kind of shows concern for the group's carefree attitude in a situation like this when the D-Reaper is still out there. And Terriermon says to Renamon, "Momentai, that thing's too big to go anywhere." And Guilmon collapses to the ground because he's still full from overeating and goes, "I know how it feels." Just the D-Reaper is too big to move anywhere, and Guilmon's like, "I know how it feels because I'm stuffed right now from food." Alright, I got 4 more funny moments. Next one is episode 44. So, the group of adults known as the Monster Makers gather around to discuss the D-Reaper. One of them brings up an observation that although the D-Reaper has covered the buildings in the city, it's stayed away from the open areas, such as parks, that have a lot of greenery. And Henry's dad comments, "Looks like the D-Reaper and I have something in common. We both hate our greens." This is a funny moment by Henry's dad, who we don't see much of early on in the season, and then learn more about as the season goes on. The next funny moment is from episode 45. So after Impmon reunites with Calamon, he still kind of teases and bullies him a little bit, but not that much because Impmon's still struggling with his self and his feelings. So they begin to look around the city for Jerry. So both of them are trying to find Jerry for kind of different reasons. One of the D-Reaper's drones floats near them, and after a nervous chuckle, Calamon tries to remain optimistic by saying, "Maybe it's friendly." And then a scared Impmon yells, "Don't you have enough friends?" Which is something that people kept saying throughout the whole series was, "Come on, Calamon, don't you have enough friends already? Like, you don't have to try to be friends with everybody." Next funny moment, episode 48. So, Grani, which is the name of the flying ark that Gallantmon rides for transportation during battles, and it's also the flying ark that brought the kids back to the real world. When it lands back at the Monster Maker's headquarters, Shibumi walks up to it in complete awe and says, "Wonderful, I've never seen a more amazing piece of machinery." And Guilmon argues back, "Well, I have. Takado's parents have a machine in their store that makes bread." And Shibumi just lets out this big laugh and says, "Well, I guess there's no way Grani can compete with that." So, again, Guilmon, making a comment on the food. in that situation. Guillemot has so many funny comments in the last 10 episodes of the season, as you can tell. Okay, and then one more funny moment from episode 51. The D Reaper has been, or the D Reaper has started getting sucked down in the black hole. So at this point, the kids are basically in the process of defeating the final boss of the season. But there's still a slight chance that the group could get pulled down with the D Reaper in this black hole. A concerned Renamon yells, "We have to get out of here and soon." And then Sakato calmly replies back, "I know, but how? It's not like we can just call a cab." And then Kenta and Kazu, who at this point we haven't seen for a few episodes, are heard off in the distance saying, "Hey down there, need a ride?" And then Marine Angemon, who's Kenta's Digimon partner, shoots a protective bubble to help safely transport the rest of the group. And Kazu says, "Check out this bubble. It's got no cup holders, but it's still a smooth ride." So that's another funny moment. I actually just realized I skipped a moment. Hold on. I totally skipped one of the funny moments that I wanted to mention, even though I know I got a lot of them in here. Okay, apparently I don't have it written down. I'm an idiot, but I'll try my best to say it. So it was from episode 40, I think, or maybe 41, when they're getting ready to leave the digital world and they're in the Ark. And so there's a part where Marine Angemon, who's Kenta's partner, comes out of Kenta's pocket, and he doesn't know that Marine Angemon is there. And he picks up Marine Angemon, and he's like, "What are you doing in my partner?" He's like, "Oh wait, I get it. You're my tamer." So, which is wrong for him to say because he is the tamer and the Digimon is the partner. But he's like, "Oh, you're my tamer. I mean my partner." So he kind of has this like dumb moment. And then Henry just kind of goes, "Wow, that's incredible. How did he end up in Kenta's pocket?" And then Kazu goes, "Well, I'm surprised he's still breathing. Do you even know what's inside Kenta's pockets?" So that's another funny moment. I don't know. I thought I had it written down, but I guess not. So yeah, those are the funny moments from Digimon Tamers. I believe that was 35 of them. And I highly encourage people to go watch this season because it is genuinely funny. You can get this DVD set here online, I'm sure. There's probably a bunch of places that sell it. Or you can probably find these episodes online on YouTube or other cartoon anime places. So go watch it for yourself if you haven't. And yeah, that's basically it for this video. I hope everyone out there is doing well. Have a great day. Have a great week. Have a great month. Have a great year. Have a great life. Stay tuned for the next video, which might be the project that I'm working on that would finish in early June, but we'll see what happens. All right, peace out.